So, like I said before, having it as an individual vector objects, I can delete and leave objects that I want there. So we're going to get rid of that. And what we need to do is we need to turn all of these into black. So we've got a nice mask. So we choose all these individual elements. We're just going to choose the type first. And we're going to make it black. The reason why I didn't grab these here is because these are just outlines, as you can see here, and we want those to be black. Okay. Now we have an outline around here, so we're going to get rid of that. So now we've just got some nice black objects that we can work with. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to bring in this outline and the actual Harley Davidson writing itself. Now I've got, I'm just going to select all those and exactly the same way, edit, copy. Go back to Photoshop and we're going to choose layer 1, copy, and we're going to just turn off these other two so we can see what we're working with. And now we're just going to edit, paste. There's a Harley Davidson. Now that goes right up to the edge of that horrible bit there, so we're just going to leave it there. And we do exactly the same thing, choose, and all I'm going to do here is select similar, and that chooses the whole text. Now we can get rid of that Vector Smart image, and then we can just hit the Command X, or actually I'll do it this long way. So what we want to do now is we want to cut that out. We want to get rid of that layer now. We don't need that anymore. Oops, to there. And we're going to paste it. And that'll create us a new layer with that text. Now, if I turn these other two layers back on, you can see, and we need to move that now back up to the top of the layer stack because we want that text on top of this banner. So now you can probably just see a little bit of aberration there, but you can't actually see the text. So what we need to do is we need to go to Layer, Layer Style, and we need to go to Bevel and Emboss. And there you can start seeing the actual text there. So now the depth here I've made is 580, and we're going to up to the size up to 7, and that just will give us the nice bevel effect that we're looking for. So we do exactly the same thing with the outer shield outline and this bunch of text here as well. I must remember to do that. Right, exactly the same thing. Edit, copy, go back into Photoshop, and we choose our last one. So you can see how just duplicating this particular layer, we've been able to utilize it more than 3 or 4 times. Otherwise, you'd have to go through and create the layer again, create the effect again. So just doing it when you start duplicating it to how many layers you're going to be utilizing. So we're going to turn these off again, just so we can see what we're doing. Up to layer 1, turn him back on, and we're just going to paste that in again. So edit, paste. Right, hit your enter button. And do the same thing, grab your magic wand tool, we're going to select, we're going to go select similar, and we're going to get rid of that Vector Smart object, and we're on this layer. We're going to cut out that image, we're going to get rid of that rest of it, bit of refuse there, and we're going to copy paste, and that gives us our third layer that we need there. Now that third layer is going to sit. We'll take that to the top of the layer stack again, and we'll turn everything back on, and do exactly the same thing. We need to see it, we need to give it a bevel and emboss, and same measurements, so it's 580, we'll give it a size of 7. Okay, so we're nearly there. We're just going to reposition that layer, so it sits where it's supposed to. Okay, very good. So the big problem here is these little legs that are here, and of course we don't want them in there. So what we do is we choose the layer, which is layer 3, and the great thing about having the bevel and emboss there, you won't lose it. So what we want to do is we want to go really close so it doesn't impede. So what we might do is we might just zoom up in there a little bit. And we want to get right on the edge of this here, right down to the other edge. And so you might want to refine that a little bit more, but pretty well much that's how it's done. So now we've got that in there. We haven't got the lighting effects done yet. So what we do is we've chosen layer 3. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to merge both those layers. Sorry, let me just merge this one down. So now we have, and you can see it becoming a little bit more pronounced. We're going to add the lighting effect, not to the shield and the banner, but just to the text only. So we go to Filter, we go to Render, Lighting Effects. And all we're looking for here is a spotlight. So just using a spotlight, and you can vary the intensity of that by widening the spotlight. So we're going to use it around about there. We say OK, and then that gives you your lighting effects. And of course you can play around with that with what you want. Now the last 2 layers, just so we can get a little bit more depth, I'm just going to merge down those 2 layers, and I'm just going to change the opacity out a little bit. We have it. So going from our logo, that's how we created the Harley Davidson logo in its 3D effect as well as the brush steel.